How's it going, guys? Patrick here from RWingAttack with a very special video today. Now, I'm going to be giving my review on the brand new game from Nintendo called ARMS. Now, for those of you who don't know, ARMS is a motion control fighting game, and it is actually a brand new IP, so this is the first game in the series. Now, at the time of this recording, ARMS is actually not even out yet. This game actually comes out June 16th. This is basically my review on what Nintendo calls the Global Test Punch. And basically the Test Punch was a preview for gamers to play this game before the game came out, to kind of discover the game and to see kind of the mechanics and if they're going to like the game. Now this Test Punch was an event spread out 6 days. The days had a few times that you could play this game, and each of those times were an hour long, and there was 12 of them. So if you made it out to every single event, you could have possibly played this game for a total of 12 hours, which is a pretty good preview of a game, especially a fighting game like this. Now, I actually made it out to 4 of these events, so I got a pretty good chunk of time with this game. So I feel like I wanted to make this video for you guys to kind of discuss my initial thoughts on this game and to kind of see if this game is worth all the hype, because this is, of course, a new IP from Nintendo. Nintendo has really been pushing this game, and the last time they pushed a game this hard was probably Splatoon, and we all know how that turned out. Splatoon, of course, being a very big success for Nintendo. So let's get down to it. Let's talk about a little bit of ARMS. So yeah, like I said, I made it out. I played about 4 hours of this Test Punch, and I gotta say that this game looks very good. This game is visually very appealing. Definitely has that Nintendo vibe, and a lot of people have actually compared the art style to Overwatch because the characters are so vibrant and different looking. But today is going to be a little bit different, because I'm not going to be reviewing the game like a normal game review. I'm going to be doing it in a discussion kind of style. And you can't do discussions quite by yourself, so I'm actually joined today by one of my YouTube friends. His name is Gadgee12, and I will leave a link to his channel in the description. But yeah, joined today by Gadji. So Gadji, I got a couple of questions for you. What is your initial impression of ARMS from the Global Test Punch? And how did you like the game? What characters were you using? And why don't you introduce yourself to the viewers today?
Well, what's going on, everyone? I am Gadgee12, and on my channel, I like to do discussions about Nintendo and the gaming industry in general. Now, today I'm here with RWingAttack to do a discussion about the ARMS Global Test Punch. In this Test Punch, I was able to have 7 play sessions. These play sessions lasted 1 hour, and I believe after playing those, I was able to get a nice grasp of the game. So far, I am very impressed, and I am absolutely sold on this game. Nintendo introducing this new fighting game just blew me away. As soon as I picked up those Joy-Cons, I was entranced. Now, these are very unique characters. Each character has their very unique traits. It's not a traditional fighter. This is more of this sort of triangle or pyramid style gameplay. But instead of acting as a scissors paper rock style of fighting, it's a lot more movement based, so you have to depend on your character's abilities and movement speed. And this adds a lot more depth to that sort of fighter. And they add a bunch of gloves that you can use that have different stats and different damage multipliers, and a lot of motion values that affect the game. This pretty much creates an even level playing field for new players and hardcore fighting game players. Now, as someone who loosely follows esport fighters, I know some sort of mechanics when it comes to fighters, but I am not the most skilled fighting game player, that is for damn sure. But I believe this game has a lot of potential in the esports scene. I've been trying to practice a lot of tech. I haven't been spamming grabs or punches. I've been trying out the different charge attacks for each character, different maneuvers, and each character works well with different maneuvers. For example, Master Mummy is focused on guarding and heavy attacks. And you got someone like Twin Teller, who's more of a counter style or mix-ups. And then you got Ninjara, who's a very speedy character. Now, when it came to the characters that I used, well, there's really 3 characters that I use pretty much evenly. There's Master Mummy. So far, he is the main. And then we got Springman, and then we got Twin Teller. I tried Master Mummy. He just worked really well. He's got really heavy attacks, and his grab game is not that good. And I'm not a really grabby person, so I guess that works out. And then we got Springman. I just like his rage ability and also his little repel charge attack, which works really well. I've been trying that quite recently, and I've been working with Springman quite a bit. And then I tried Twin Teller. Now, Twin Teller seems like a very top tier character. You have no idea what she's going to do while she's in the air. And I'm very impressed with how they designed her. And a bunch of other characters. Some characters I feel are much better than others. But pretty much they all seem pretty evenly matched. So I'm really impressed with the balancing. And we just have to see what kind of combinations of gloves that work with each character. So far, I'm looking forward to the launch very much, and I can't wait to dive right into this game, because this is a fighter that I have been waiting for a very long time. Something I can get into that is brand new, even playing field from everybody else.
I completely agree, and I think that was the most exciting part for me, is because, everyone is new, so everyone is kind of trying to find their fighting style, kind of trying to find that character that they're going to be good with, and definitely each character plays very differently. I've heard some people say that, all the characters play the same. It's all about the arms, but I'm going to have to disagree 100%, because there's a big difference between playing as Helix and playing as Master Mummy. For me personally, I cannot figure out Helix's mechanics. I'm just really, really bad with him. I'm also not too good with Min Min. I found out that I'm not really good with the dragon arm. I feel like it's very slow for me. And I found the best characters for me are more of the quicker characters. But I was using Master Mummy a lot, and I really like his regain health ability. And essentially, when you're blocking, your health continues to restore. So that was a huge advantage for me, especially in 2v2 matches. I found myself kind of staying in the back a little bit while my partner fought for me, and pretty much I would be regaining health while they were doing all the damage, and then they would get, my teammate would get both of those guys down health-wise a lot, and then I would come in, use my special, and, so there was definitely strategy there, and that was without me talking to the other person, obviously. So, there is a lot of strategy in this game. So at the end of the test punch, pretty much two characters really stood out to me, or stood out to my playstyle, and that was Ribbon Girl. She's super elusive. I think her ability is the ability to double jump and triple jump or something like that, but she can dodge a lot of attacks, and she's very, very quick, and I liked her arms that she had, her stock arms. I know in the full game you can actually unlock more arm combinations, but she was very good for me. And also Master Mummy, like I said before, with his regain health ability. I like the fact that he doesn't flinch when he gets punched. So those two characters really stood out to me. I wasn't too good with Helix. I wasn't too good with Twintel. Springman was just okay. He played pretty average for me. Nothing really stood out there. But I wanted to talk to you about the game modes because, of course we got to play the 1v1, which is my personal favorite. We got to play the 2v2. There was a 3-player free-for-all, which was really interesting. And once I learned how to actually target the players, that was much easier for me. We also got to play some mini-game modes like Target Practice, V-Ball, which is volleyball in the ARMS universe, and we got to play Hoops, which is my personal favorite. V-Ball, I gotta say, I was a little let down. I definitely thought it would be a little smoother. It didn't really stand out to me, but it was still enjoyable. Hoops, I really liked. I don't really grab, like you were saying. Grabbing isn't really part of my playstyle, but Hoops was really, really fun, and I actually did really, really well on that. The third game mode, Target Practice, or I forget the name exactly, but that mode was just okay for me. Didn't really stand out too much. I could have gone without it, to be completely honest, but I did win some matches. I lost most of them just because there was a lot of strategy involved. You can actually reach all the way past the targets and hit your opponents, and then they flinch, and then, that's a strategy that you can do. But all in all, the modes were very, very good. There was another mode, the headlock mode, where essentially you and two other players are facing a boss, and there was, for me at least, there was a level 4 and a level 5 boss, and these bosses were very, very tough, and I'm actually glad that the difficulty was so high on them, because I didn't want it to be a cakewalk where, we were just beating the shit out of this boss. It was definitely fun. It was a standout mode for me, and I'm excited to play the full game to kind of see, where this kind of fits into the timeline and kind of where it fits into the story. But I just wanted to ask you, Gadji, what did you think about the game modes, and what was your favorite, least favorite thoughts overall?
Okay, so when it comes to game modes, there's definitely games that stand out to me and the other mini games that really don't. I became really disappointed every time I see a volleyball or basketball come up. That's just me. I really just wanted to get into the hand-to-hand combat. That's just how I really wanted to play the game in the first place, and I never really cared for them. My favorite game modes were definitely the 1v1s and the team fights. The team fights really worked out well. I thought it was going to be an absolute cluster, and it really did work out well in the end, and I can see some interesting tournaments happening with 2v2, so 2v2 really did end up working in the end. And now when it comes to free-for-all I'm okay with. 4-player free-for-all worked out fine. I thought it was very fun, and that's more of a casual type of game mode, which I'm cool with. I'd rather play that than, items on. And that was all cool. But then when it come to the 3-player free-for-all, that's when I said, no, that's a definite no-no. I don't want to see anyone camping out in the back while I'm wailing on someone else. But when it comes to the minigames, I'd probably choose basketball over them all. Headlock was alright, but then at the end, the strategy just becomes really simple. Circle around behind him and grab him until he's dead. It just comes down to, team coordination, and you don't even need it. You just gotta grab him from behind. Although it is really cool to see boss fights, there really doesn't seem to be too much of a challenge after you get the hang of it. Volleyball and targets just did not work for me at all. I did not like these game modes. Light punches were definitely the way to go to win these, because if you have heavy arms, you're just too slow and hindered by them. Don't hinder the jinder. There's no real strategy to these games, really. I mean, the only strategy I can see for volleyball is laying the ball up and then spiking. It might work in a team, but personally, I just did not have fun playing it at all. And then when it comes to targets, I just found the best strategy is to spam your punches. Grabbing didn't really help you too much. If you just hit your spam punches regardless if there's targets or not. If you hit the other person on the other side, you can potentially knock them out, which I experienced. I did knock someone out eventually, and it also takes points away from them. So it's a win-win situation if you just have fast gloves and just keep on punching. So when this game finally drops, I'm most likely probably not going to touch the mini games ever again, as I just didn't enjoy them that much. I'm going to be sticking to the combat game modes. A lot of character movement does affect these mini games. If you got someone like Ninjara or Min Min who are fast characters, they're definitely your top tier characters for volleyball and basketball. If you're jumping around in basketball, it's going to be pretty hard to grab you, to be honest. All you have to do is jump around, and you can knock away their gloves with the heavier characters. That's what my strategy is, really. But, the kings are the fast characters, and that also includes volleyball. Slow characters are really not helpful at all, and it's a definite loss if you're a slow character. Also, when it comes to fighting, the items on the ground, for example, the healing bottles, I feel like they need to be dumbed down a little bit, even though these aren't the competitive standard, for now at least. They're definitely not the competitive standard because, items off. It's healing 50 health per second at least, and that's pretty crazy. I tried it with Master Mummy, and the amount of times you heal is pretty insane. And yeah, it's a bit OP. I'd say 20 health per second. I don't know how long the seconds actually are, but it's pretty insane. You can heal up a lot of your health if you're staying in there. But this being the demo, I did enjoy myself quite a bit, and I don't mind playing these game modes for the first time over, but definitely not happening in the full game. Looking forward to any other game modes that'll potentially be released in the free DLC. So overall, I'm really impressed with the fighting game modes, but this game is new and fresh and offers a lot of game modes that other fighting games do not. So there's a lot of space for people to enjoy themselves, and I look forward to what's to come. Overall, I had an absolute blast playing this demo. It left me wanting more, and I can't wait for the game to come out in the next couple of weeks, along with the tournament that will be played at E3. So a lot of stuff to look forward to when it comes to ARMS.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was actually going to talk about the health drops and the special drops and the bombs that come down from the top of the stage. I actually was okay with the special. If you see them, they kind of look like water bottles, and if you get in the zone, you can actually fill up your special meter. And they also have one, like you said, for the health. I felt like 50, I think 50 health a second. It was a lot, and especially if you're using Master Mummy. And I actually tried that like little hack out, and you can actually regain pretty much all your health if you're standing in there, and all you have to do is kind of knock back your opponent and kind of get them out of the picture, and you can take advantage of that health. So yeah, I wasn't okay with the health. The special water bottle kind of area that you can walk in, I actually don't mind because dodging specials is pretty easy, I feel. I mean, especially the characters that I'm using, all you have to do is jump and then dash to the side, jump, dash to the side, and so that for me is not a big deal. My favorite drop down item actually was the bombs, though, because it really kind of switched up the game a little bit. And the bombs actually do quite a bit of damage, and even if you are trying to avoid a hit, you can throw a bomb or like hit the bomb at them, and then they'll stop attacking you to dodge that bomb. So it kind of gives you a little bit of time to move out of the way and to kind of regain yourself. So I thought there was a little bit of strategy there. And, even with the health and the special drops, I found it quite enjoyable. I didn't really find it OP, but, I think there's so much happening that there's not really a lot of time to kind of stay still and actually get those power-ups. So, my thoughts on the items, I like them, but like you said, when it comes to competitive play, people are probably going to turn them off if there is an option. I'm hoping there is an option. One thing I did want to talk about to you, Gadji, is the arms attachments, because this game only has 10 characters, but many people are saying that the real characters are the arms, and it really does affect the way that you play. There's a big difference between having a tracking arm, that when you shoot it, it tracks it and seeks out the opponent, and having a shield, or having the dragon arm, which opens up and then shoots a laser. So the amount of arms that are offered are very diverse, and I feel like it brings a very, very good balance to the game, and really, really creates strategy, because choosing the arms is more important, or as important as choosing the characters that you're using. So I really enjoyed the arms, and I wanted to get your opinion on the arms. And maybe, we haven't seen it with the demo, but the different kind of elements, how that's going to affect gameplay. So really wanted your opinion on both of those.
Well, this game does offer a lot of depth. Now, when it comes to the arms, there's over 5,000 combinations that you have. So this allows you to have so many different encounters with different players. Everyone's playstyle will probably be different, and this makes it probably the most customizable fighting game that has ever been. Now, it does seem that every element does do somewhat of the same thing. The only ones I see that really impact are blind and ice. Ice slows down your opponent and, allows you to grab them or hit them really hard. And then you got blind, which, it's like the ink from Mario Kart. It pretty much blinds the screen for a short time until you get knocked down or something. But the rest of them, it does seem like they just blow you away. As I've seen, it does somewhat affect when you use your special. When something has like a whirlwind ability or a wind ability, it sends out a cyclone during your special. So it really does show how much depth this game has. We have yet to see what type of elements really complement each other. I was thinking that ice along with fire, because fire does seem to do increased damage, but there's also explosion, which is confirmed that does pretty much the best damage of the elements. So I can see, a light hand having ice, which slows down your opponent, and then a follow-up attack that would be explosion. That's something, for example, that I'll be trying out. So there's a lot of things to try out, and, you got you got your dojo mode or whatever. So that'll be effective when it comes to testing out each individual glove. And then you got the arms getter, which is pretty much your loot box. And if you get a duplicate, it increases the power of your arm. So there's probably a threshold of how powerful the arm can get. There's probably a max level of 5, I guess. I guess that works out fine. You're not completely getting gipped if you get the same arm again, which I don't see how, because there's so many combinations and stuff. I assume there's an element on every single type of glove. So you really get to choose anything you want, and I'm really looking forward to what's going on. Yes, all the elements do seem to do knockback to an extent. Most of the elements do, but as Nintendo were pretty vague of how they work, I can't wait to see what kind of effects these actually have. Look, you never know what could happen with these elements. They could actually increase the speed of which your glove goes. For example, let's just say wind increases the speed of your glove, how fast you can punch. That could definitely work with a heavy glove. You get that really quick, heavy punch along with the knockback, allowing you to get the, momentum. And I think that could really affect things, as opposed to, just spamming ice and trying to slow down enemies and stuff. Ice might work to an extent, but, getting those heavy attacks off with fire or something could work out in your favor. And don't forget to subscribe to RWingAttack and my channel if you want more of these types of discussions. I'll be closing off. See you later.
All right, so I think that about sums it up. I want to thank Gadji for coming out here and talking to me a little bit about ARMS. I plan on doing more discussions. I'd love to have you back, Gadji, and I think people are really going to like your channel. If you guys want to go check out his channel, of course, like I said before, the link is in the description. He mostly does, different kind of discussions, reviews, speculations, but unlike me, he actually talks about Sony and Microsoft at times. So definitely some diversification over on his channel. So I want to thank you again for coming out. Thank you guys for listening to the ARMS discussion. And keep a lookout. ARMS comes out June 16th on Nintendo Switch. And keep it here, guys, for all discussion, review, and speculation. This is Patrick from RWingAttack. Thank you for watching.